difficult to pick, but I think Australia will get there through the boot of Michael Liner.
Should be a terrific game of football, Terry. And of course, last time they met over in France, it was a very, very tough series there. With Australia winning the first one and the Frenchman coming back.
Yeah, spot on, Pete. I think a lot's going to depend on the English referee Tony Spreadbury. It's his first international game, and I think France's big pack. They're obviously going to try and put it all over our blokes. So I think a lot's going to depend on the little Pom.
Good luck to Bobby Dwyer and his side. Terry will get progress scores right throughout the afternoon on World of Football from you. Terry Smith from the Daily Mirror there at the Sydney Football Stadium. Should be a beauty, and Seldom will be bringing us all the scores as they happen there at the Sydney Football Stadium this afternoon, and he'll have his half-time and full-time summaries there. Warren Ryan will join us at half-time for his expert analysis of the first half here at the Newcastle International Sports Centre. OK, Hollywood's gone for Newcastle this afternoon in a desperate effort to get Canterbury back to the lead in the Winfield Cup. Will his mock work again, or doesn't it work against the Bulldogs? We'll find out this afternoon here in Newcastle. Let's go down to our sideline. Tony McGay. Tony, any wind to speak of down there?
None whatsoever, Peter, but I tip a very, very physical game. We saw some instances in that second grade, a lot of feeling in, and Canterbury are just a turn to accommodate the Knights today. OK, so here it goes. It should be a rough, tough encounter. Referee Greg McCallum waves time on, and we're underway in Newcastle.
Yep, and the first ball straight into the arms of Ashley Gordon for Newcastle. Comes downfield, 12 metres away from his own goal line, and immediately put down. Now it's played to Glanville. He, from the back of the ruck, tries to get away, but he's going to be wrapped up on his own quarter line. He'll play it to Fulmer. Fulmer goes away from the back of the ruck. He's 24 metres out centre field from the Knights goal line. Getting up the plat. Glanville at dummy half. Again going, and a good strong tackle, two over the top. It was a beauty by Canterbury. Bankstown, Langmack going now straight into the arms, this time going forward, and that is Mullane for the Newcastle side. Back it goes to Gary Worth. Worth getting a kick downfield now as the arm of the referee goes up, going to be picked up now by Canterbury. And right back on his own line, young Jason Alchin, I should say, on the quarter line, and he's knocked to the ground. Will get up there to play the football. Back it goes to Nissan. Penalty now to the Canterbury Bankstown side. Inside the 5 metres, says the referee, centre field. 31 metres out from the doggies line.
OK, well, Greg McCallum pinching the Newcastle Knights back line there for being offside, and this kick to be taken now 30 metres out from the Canterbury Bankstown goal line. Stand-in skipper and 5/8 today, Andrew Farrer, to take the kick. And he'll kick for the sideline and find it on the eastern side of the ground here, the scoreboard side of the Newcastle International Sports Centre. Big crowd in this afternoon, and would be very, very close to 20,000 here. Maybe probably 18 to 20,000 in Newcastle as the Canterbury Bankstown side take it up now, and they're 30 metres out from the Newcastle goal line.
Ouch, at dummy half. Dean Pay was the man to go forward, but now Gillespie's doing the job for Canterbury, but he stopped in his tracks, and a good tackle it was too, that time by Harrigan. Back it goes to Alchin, out to Langmack. Another good one to Joe Thomas. The ball has been knocked back by a Knights player towards his own goal line. He'll get up to play it now. And it was the 5/8 in Hagan, but a penalty given against the Canterbury Bankstown side. Pete, offside.
OK, two of the big Newcastle forwards, Butterfield and Harrigan, collided there, trying to get through to the Canterbury side. It's a quick tap taken by Gary Worth. Why he wouldn't take the sideline, I wouldn't know. Sideline-eyed Tony McGay.
They're out of the land of the Giants, this Newcastle pack. Have a look at the size of Harrigan.
Yeah, he's certainly a big boy. Good, strong second row forward too.
Yes, and we've got him in possession of the ball. It's gone across to Mullane. Back once again, it goes to Glanville. He bounces off one. Manages to get a yard or so over the halfway line in Canterbury territory, and the referee has stopped play again.
Yeah, Langmack called out for the Canterbury Bankstown side, and a high tackle according to the referee, and the penalty given to the Newcastle side. It was Corcoran going in first of all. I couldn't see anything there, and gee, I didn't see anything wrong with that tackle.
Nor did I. That's why I didn't call it in the tackle.
OK, and it certainly wasn't Langmack. Sideline-eyed Tony McGay.
He's got the wrong man, mate. It was, I'd say it was Corcoran first with the swinging arm. He's pinched Langmack.
OK, he certainly, there was nothing to do with Langmack. I apologise to Langers for that. He'll let me know about it later. I couldn't see what that penalty was for. Newcastle have it anyway, and they're in possession of the football. And here's big Mark Sargent, minus the headgear.
Yeah. Gone back to Ashley Gordon going across field, and he's wrapped up. Mullane now will go into the dummy half position. Ball runners are set. It goes across now once again into the arms of Butterfield, but he can only pick up a yard or two for the Newcastle side. 28 metres out from Canterbury Bankstown goal line. Mullane again at dummy half, gives it across this time to Peter Johnson, going up towards the quarter line. Nearly has the ball stolen by Smith. Plays it to Mullane again, gives it across now to Harrigan down the blind side. He bumps off one, but eventually he's taken inside the Canterbury Bankstown quarter line. Up the flat. Back it goes this time to Former. Good pass once again across to Anthony Butterfield, and the arm goes up. One tackle left to go to the Knights. Former, but a penalty again. All Canterbury Bankstown offside from the play. The ball, a penalty given 10 metres out from the Canterbury Bankstown goal line.
Yeah, and the worst part about that is that Jamie Corcoran is arguing with the referees. He's on the 10-metre line, and the referee just can't stand that. I mean,
he was up shaking hands nearly.
He should just send him to the sin bin for arguing with the referee. That's Dumbo football by Corcoran there. He was yards offside, pinched, and then had the hide to complain to the referee. Sideline eye, Tony McGay.
Yeah, that's a trend of his game he's got to get rid of. We've seen that with Jamie Corcoran several times. He hasn't been in the big time long enough, that kid.
Okay, so there it is, a penalty given to Newcastle, and it was bad enough that he was offside, Corcoran, but then to argue with the referee just further emphasised the fact that he was there and he stood in that offside position, and he'd given himself up. It was like a boy in the lolly shop.
Okay.
Caught with him in his hands.
Marty Creeker, 15 metres out from the Canterbury Bankstown goal line.
Not a great kicker, Creeker, but certainly good enough to get this one over, and he's certainly done the job for Newcastle since he's been propelled into first grade. 5 minutes gone here at Newcastle. Should be first points on the board to the Knights.
About 8 to 10 metres off centre field. 15 metres out from the Canterbury goal line. Marty Creeker coming in now to add the first couple of points, I feel sure, for the Newcastle side. And over she goes.
Newcastle 2 lead Canterbury 0 on the Mitsubishi Electric scoreboard here in Newcastle after 5 minutes of play, with Corcoran well offside and Creeker kicking the penalty goal for a 2 points to 0 lead for the Newcastle Knights. Newcastle 2 lead Canterbury Bankstown 0.
Centre halfway, Corcoran, the man involved in that penalty, gets it underway with a long kick again, downfield taken by Gordon, right back on his own in goal. Comes out now some 11, 10 metres or so before he's pulled down by Smith over the top. Now he'll play it to McCormack from the back of the ruck. He goes away from that position, tries to step David Gillespie to no avail, and he's knocked down immediately. Plays it to Mullane, comes back again towards the centre of the field, up to his own quarter line. Eventually he goes to ground. Former a dummy half. He's got a choice of runners. Glenville goes behind him. He goes on his own from the back of the ruck and picks up 6 metres for the Newcastle side. He'll play it now back to Butterfield. Goes across to Hagan. Good pass out to Sargent. Beats him big stepping up over the top of 1 or 2. Gets a ball back to Hagan. Hagan takes off. He has a look out wide. Gives it to Glanville, and Glanville now right up to the Canterbury Bankstown quarter line.
That's a great run by Sargent.
One tackle left to go. It goes across now to Peter Johnson, out to Hagan again. The kick bounces off one player, and Canterbury Bankstown come up with the football through the 5/8 in Andrew Farrer.
Yeah, it was a beautiful bust by Sargent. Should nearly have been a try for the Newcastle side, and it ended up in the hands of Glanville. Now there's a penalty with Newcastle offside in the back line, and the referee is being consistent. Greg McCallum under plenty of pressure. I understand the dressing down that he got from ARL Chief Ken Arthurson this week was one that really tore the strips off the wall there in Phillip Street. And Greg McCallum really at the crossroads in his career right at this moment.
Okay, the penalty kick to be taken by Andrew Farrer, again kicking across to the scoreboard side. Finding touch 32 metres out from the Newcastle goal line. The tap to be taken by Joe Thomas. The free kick, that is. He does that now. Gives it across to Ewan McGrady as it goes to Farrer. Good pass out to Ryan. Well and truly wrapped up around the legs by Fulmer. We'll play it again. Jason Alchin, a dummy half across to Dean Pay this time, and he bounces off a Butterfield tackle. Also Harrigan in there too. It goes to Thomas. Holds up a pass out to Langmack. Given straight out this time to Glenn Nissen, and he's pulled down on the Newcastle quarter line. We'll play it to Smith. He sends it infield this time to Jamie Corcoran. Corcoran's going to be wrapped up a shade over the quarter line. Newcastle's end of the ground. He'll play it once again to Alchin, to Joe Thomas. Alchin on the wrap around. A long one picks up Farrer. Farrer a bit of a stop and start, but eventually Glanville's over the top with one tackle left to go to pull him down inside the quarter area. It's played back. It goes to Alchin across to Thomas. Thomas gets his kick in behind the backs. Creeker going back in there. So is Worth. Oh, Worth gets to it, but they nail him in the in-goal area. Dead, says the referee. Goal line dropout.
Good chase there by the centre three-quarter Ryan, and Ryan getting to the fullback Gary Worth. Let's go to the rugby. Terry Smith at the Sydney Football Stadium for an update.
5 minutes into the game, a wild brawl. France penalised in front. Peter Fitzsimons fell from behind. Michael Liner kicked the goal. Australia 3, France 0.
Australia 3, France 0 at the rugby. Here at the Rugby League, it's 2-0 to Newcastle as they drop out from their own line. Oh, it's a shocker. It's just gone 22 metres, and Canterbury back on the attack now inside the Newcastle Knights quarter line.
Darren Smith playing it too. Back it goes to Dean Pay, trying to get away from the back of the ruck. Only manages to pick up a metre, but Jason Elchin back at dummy half to Thomas. Out now to Gillespie. Gillespie tries to go forward. He's 11 metres away now from the Knights goal line with Elchin acting dummy half. Gives it to McGrady, who gives it across this time to Dunn. Dunn offloads back to Hugh and McGrady. Plenty of pace and a good step. He gives the ball back. It goes to Smith, but he's going to be held away from the football. Maybe a penalty. No, the knock on, says the referee, 5 metres out from the Knights goal line.
Gee, that was a good run by McGrady there. He was through the gap, and the ball was thrown out there to a Canterbury player in Darren Smith. He was held from behind by the Newcastle Knights winger there in Ashley Gordon, and well, Canterbury was screaming for a penalty. Jason Elchin, quite frankly, I think they should have got one. 9 minutes gone, 2-0 to Newcastle.
Yeah, Gary Worth trying to race away from the back of the ruck and knocked down by Dunn. Now he'll play it to Stevie Former, again deciding to go on his own and is easily pulled down by Paul Dunn. Ashley Gordon's at dummy half and again running one out from the back of the ruck, but up towards his own quarter line. He's knocked down by Dunn once again. Former's at dummy half, gives it across this time to Butterfield, bounces off one. Look for Former once again, but couldn't offload. Smith was over the top of him. Dean Pay down around the legs. Former now pointing to the referee, and he sucked him in for a penalty that time.
Dean Pay was on the ground and the ball was played, and it just hit the legs of Dean Pay. He made no effort to get out of the way, and that had to be a penalty, no doubt about it. And Dean Pay just lying there, and when the ball was played, it almost disappeared right up the Khyber.
Well, I don't know about that, but the penalty kick now is going to be taken. And now the free kick. It goes across to Former, straight out into the arms of Big Harrigan, racing forward, but he's knocked to the ground by Joe Thomas. Plays it to Former, gives it across this time to Peter Johnson, hitting it up very strongly too. Well and truly down into Canterbury territory on 3 tackles.
Warren Ryan was right. They are a monster pack and awfully hard to beat here. 2-0 to Newcastle, and the Knights really rampaging. Here's Sargent. Oh, he's toying with Canterbury.
Yeah, it's gone right through the gap again and knocked down. Now it's back to Mullaney. Gives it this time into the arms of Grant Butterfield. Out wide it goes once again to Hagan. Hagan turns it inside to Gary Worth. Talk about hot potato stuff. Worth knocked down on the Canterbury Bankstown quarter line. Mullane at dummy half. He sends it across this time to Peter Johnson once again. Puts the hip into 1 or 2. Looks back to offload. Gone astray, and Canterbury come up with a pill.
At the Rugby League, 11 minutes gone here in Newcastle. 2-0 to the Newcastle Knights over the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. Terry Smith's at the rugby at the Sydney Football Stadium. Terry.
France have squared the issue with a penalty goal by Didier Camba-Ribeiro. 3-3.
Okay, 3-3 at the rugby. Canterbury now desperately trying to get outside their own quarter line area, and Jason Elchin plays the ball.
Back now it goes to Dunn, straight on to Farah. He kicks the living daylights out of it, bounces over the head of Gary Worth back into his own quarter. He turns, he's on his own centre field. He's going to link up out wide with Marty Creeker if he can do so, but then taken on the far side by Ryan around the legs. Creeker, that dummy half. The Knights still getting back on side. It goes to form a long pass across to Ashley Gordon. He tries to sidestep Dean Pay, but he is pulled down outside of his own quarter line. Once again to Former, gives it back to McCormack, going back in and easily picked up around the legs that time by Paul Dunn for Canterbury Bankstown. Former offloading this time to Glanville. Glanville going forward, but he's knocked down 30 metres out from his own goal line. And we see now again Former a dummy half across to Sargent, starting to wind up. Joe Thomas has got him around the legs this time, and down he goes, 12 metres short of the halfway line in Knights territory.
12 minutes gone as Gary Worth puts it downfield. Sideline eye, Tony Magay.
Gee, this Newcastle pack's impressive today. Darren Smith feeling the effects. He was hurt earlier.
Okay, and now it's a good tackle by McCormack on the Canterbury Bankstown fullback Jason Elchin. It's now Nissen who's tackled, only 24 metres out from the Dogs' goal line. Newcastle 2, Canterbury 0 on the Mitsubishi Electric scoreboard.
And Jamie Corcoran trying to go forward. Canterbury trying to regroup. Corcoran will play at 32 out from his own goal line to Elchin. Out to Ewan McGrady once again on to Dean Pay coming through, but beautifully tackled by Sargent down low. He'll play it once again. It goes to Alchin, back to Farah, and Farah with another clearing kick downfield across to the wing, this time of Marty Creaker, taking it back inside his own quarter line. He'll come up. They can't step. Ryan once again doing good tackling for the Canterbury side. Creaker's up the play at the former, goes across to Gary Worth, down the blind side for a bit of a gallop. Dunn again is there to pull him down 30 out from his own goal line. Former out now to Hagan, does a juggling act, manages to hang on to it, and again Paul Dunn for Canterbury up to knock him down 30 metres out from his own goal line. Former across now to Jeffrey Doyle, charging forward, a strong run too. Darren Smith over the top to pull him down. Now it's Ashley Gordon from the back of the ruck going on his own, and he's wrapped up once again by Smith over the halfway line.
He's knocked the ball on. It'll be a scrum feed to Canterbury Bankstown. The Newcastle side playing the ball very quickly, a lot of running from dummy half and making good inroads, but Canterbury a very professional side. They love it tough, and that's how it's played here in Newcastle. 2-0 to the Knights over the Dogs. Scrum feed to Canterbury, and this little fellow McGrady's going to open up shortly, I feel sure. His blistering speed's got to be used by Canterbury.
Okay, he works this one for the Dogs. It goes from McGrady out this time to Andrew Farah, trying to call him around. Won't be able to get his pass across this time to him as he's knocked down by Hagan. He'll play it now to Alchin, gives it across now to Nissan. I thought was a tad forward, but the referee says no. The crowd disagree, however. But he'll play it once again to Alchin, across to Joe Thomas, puts his head down, meets stiff resistance there from Peter Johnson, and also big Mark Sargent. Back to Alchin, across to Langmack. Langmack getting away from one, gives it across once again to Alchin. Out to Joe Thomas. Thomas tries to fend off one. Alchin back again to Ewan McGrady, wrapped up by McCormack. Now he'll play the ball 10 metres over the halfway line in Newcastle territory. Back to Alchin to Dunn. Alchin again on the wraparound. Wide it goes this time into the arms of Corcoran. He's copped it up, but Alchin again picks it up. The referee says it's gone forward. That's a bum decision, referee. It went back. Scrum to go down. And it will now 40 metres out from the Newcastle goal line. You got a problem?
No problem at all. I thought the referee's decision was right.
Yeah, well, you're wrong too. And very short-sighted. Myopic is the word for you.
Okay, let's go to the rugby and Terry Smith at the Sydney Football Stadium. Update the test match.
Pete, these French are headhunting. Tim Horan's been flattened with a high tackle. Michael Linus kicked the penalty goal. Australia 6, France 3.
Okay, Newcastle in possession here. They lead by 2-0. And in possession of the football now is Peter Johnson. He offsides to Hagan.
Yeah, Hagan now wrapped up too by Dean Pay. 8 short of the halfway line.
15 minutes gone here in Newcastle.
Back it goes to Former, out once again to Sargent, and eventually they knock him down. He's causing untold harm. Sargent for the Newcastle side. He'll play it just short of the halfway line, still in Newcastle territory. And Harrigan charging forward off a Former pass. He's put away too. They're starting to just get their target area right, the Dogs.
Yeah, that's very high too.
Back it goes now into the arms of Former, out to Gary Worth. Worth gets his kick downfield. All stopped on the arm, I think, by Nissan. He says the arm too. Well, he said shoulder, but he said arm first, and then he's pointed to his shoulder. Ewan McGrady trying to cut loose out wide. And knocked to the ground by Former. Gets up the player. Jason Alchin's a dummy half. Gives it across to Glenn Nissan again. Here's well and truly taken 30 metres out from the Canterbury Bankstown goal line by Harrigan. Oh, Alchin nearly getting away from the back of the ruck, but eventually knocked down by Anthony Butterfield.
They're very bunched up, Canterbury, at the moment. You could put a blanket over most of them, and this is a real dogged affair here at the Newcastle International Sports Centre. There's a knock-on retrieve by Newcastle.
Former forward pass. It goes out the door, but again the referee says play on.
No, that wasn't a forward pass, Greg. Yeah, well, we know you're a dog, but it wasn't.
I am not a dog.
You're a bulldog, I meant.
Thank you very much. Gone across now to Hagan, out this time to Glanville. He's knocked down centre field on the quarter line. Back again to Hagan, goes across this time to Harrigan. Back now to Worth. Worth going to be wrapped up inside the Canterbury Bankstown quarter line. Solid tackle over the top by Langmack. We'll play it now to Mullane. And David Mullane from the back of the ruck tries to go away. Smith's there to take him. 15 metres out from the Canterbury Bankstown goal line. He'll play the ball. Back it goes to Former, out wide to Doyle. Doyle links up now with Hagan, shows it to Sargent, changes direction. Back to Harrigan. Harrigan holds it up once again for David Mullane. Dummies, tries to go forward. Can't offload and still finds himself with one tackle left to go. 15 out from the line. Hagan to Doyle. Doyle puts a high kick up. They all go through. I think the referee says play on, and it's gone back into the arms of Joe Thomas, 2 metres out from the Canterbury Bankstown goal line.
Well, they're very willing, Newcastle, but gee, they had a lack of ideas once they got close to the opposition goal line there, and there was a lack of enterprise, and finally it was Doyle who hoisted up the bomb, but it was ineffectual, and Canterbury had no problems with it. I feel if Canterbury get as close as Newcastle have, that they'll pick the tries up if they can get to the other end of the field. But that's easier said than done, because this Newcastle defence is very, very strong, particularly in the ruck area, as now Canterbury find it out with 3 Newcastle forwards there on a Canterbury Bankstown forward. Paul Dunn.
Yes, he plays it once again. It goes to Hugh and McGrady. Back to Andrew Farrer with a long kick down to Ashley Gordon. He turns on his own 30-metre line centre field. Starts to get a bit of pace up now. Nelly brings the football back to the halfway line before being pulled down by Langmack around the legs.
18 minutes gone in Newcastle on the Mitsubishi Electric scoreboard. It's still 2-0 to Newcastle, and there's a chest tackle, according to the referee, on Fulmer by David Gillespie. Let's check the score at the rugby test. Terry Smith.
Pete, I told you these French were going in for the ex-certificate stuff. The back rower, Abdel Benazzi, has just been sent from the field for stomping on an Australian player. Michael Liner has kicked the goal. Australia 9, France 3.
OK, Newcastle on the attack now through their lock forward in Mark Glanville. They're only 12 metres out. The Knights are on fire now.
Back it goes to Hagan. Good pass out now to Butterfield. And would you believe it, a big forward right out in the backs, and you've muffed it.
Yeah, we certainly muffed it, with Hagan on the outside, McCormick, and also Ashley Gilbert, and the forward out there, Tony Butterfield, standing in the back line. Where he Butterfingers, you're right. It was a good pass, came off his chest. That could have been a Newcastle try, except he was loitering. Sideline eye, Tony McGay.
Oh, right in the breast basket. Gee, they look good, Newcastle. 3 clean breaks. They should have had a try on the board.
But they haven't, and that's what this game's all about, taking your opportunities. Canterbury now, I feel when they get the opportunities, they may take them.
Dean Page charging up now. Ball, good pass across now to Jamie Corcoran. Makes a half break, gets away from one, turns it back to Jason Alchin in support, but Peter Johnson's there to claim him. So is Fulmer over the top. Now it's back to Andrew Farrer, getting a kick in downfield behind the back of the ruck too. It's going to beat Marty Creek, and they can only watch it go over the touchline.
That's a good kick by Andrew Farrer, because he was put down. He was put down just as he kicked that football in a legitimate tackle by Fulmer, but he still found the sideline. Excellent stuff from Andrew Farrer, but he's a very experienced player in his 10th or 11th season, I think it is, with the Canterbury Bankstown side. OK, scrum win to the Newcastle side, and both back lines really standing up here this afternoon.
They sure are, right on top of each other. Peter Doyle now, Jeffrey, Christian Name, pull down outside his own quarter line by Dean Pay. Now it's played to Fulmer. Gives it out now to Harrigan. Oh, gee whiz, he's a lump of a Blake, but he's pulled down 28 metres away from his own goal line. Fulmer again at dummy half, gives a pass across this time to Sargent travelling forward. He's going to be still going and eventually knocked down 10 metres short of the halfway line, 40 away from his own goal line. Fulmer back to Johnson, turns it inside to Butterfield. Once again to Fulmer, wrapped up beautifully around the legs that time by Dean Pay. He'll play it to Gary Worth, and Worth getting his kick downfield. That one won't reach the touchline. Jason Alchin in possession. Nissen gone back to support him. Alchin looks for the gap, finds it, steps one, but eventually he's knocked down now 32 metres away from the Doggies' goal line. He'll play it to McGrady, Ewan McGrady. That is out now to Joe Thomas, makes a break, he's got support, and Smith's there, gets a kick away, Smith through the gap, the referee says play on, can't get the bounce, and Robbie McCormack dives on the loose ball for the Newcastle side, 9 out from his own goal line.
Well, Darren Smith there showed a ton of pace. He was much too quick for the Newcastle backs that were back there, and if Canterbury, as I said, can get a break in this game, they'll, I think they'll score the tries that Newcastle are bombing, and they've bombed a couple. We've had exactly 21 minutes gone here at the Newcastle International Sports Centre. A tight one, as predicted, and it's 2-0 to Newcastle over Canterbury Bankstown, but the Dogs haven't really had a sight at that Newcastle line yet. When they do, I think we're going to see some tries.
And we see Harrigan getting up now and goes down. Gillespie really put him away in that tackle previously, but Peter Johnson offloads back to Fulmer. Fulmer tries to get the legs pumping to no avail. He'll play at 26 away from the Henny Penny goal line. Back it goes to Gary Worth, and he puts a high kick up, not a lot of yards gained, and over the touchline. Well, it did bounce a couple of inches inside, so I suppose the red flag goes up. The scrum will go down, 8 short of the halfway line in Newcastle territory.
OK, Newcastle forwards who have started this game at a great bat. Harrigan is down, and this Canterbury side has withstood the early challenge. 22 minutes gone, and Canterbury just showing signs in the last few minutes of starting to come good in this game. Referee wants it in again on our fair dinkum. Put the ball in, Greg McCallum, and let's get on with the game.
Well, the
it's
scrum
a dreadful-looking scrum now.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't he let play go on?
Oh,
it was as good as any scrum.
And now he's going to blow it up. No, he's allowed it to be fed this time. Exactly the same result as it was before. McGrady gives it out to Farah. Farah trying to stand. They snuck up on him very quickly. Robbie McCormack did. Farah trying to get away, to get up and play it quickly to Jason Alchin now. Oh, Nesson's put away. Mark Sargent, good tackle, legal too. Puts him down.
Yeah, certainly was. Sideline eye, Tony McGay.
Paul Harrigan to the head bin. Newcastle calling on David Boyd.
Okay, David Boyd on in jumper 40. Harrigan to the head bin, but he's limping.
Joe Thomas now going forward. Wrapped up now 29 metres out from the Knights goal line. Plays it back to Jason Alchin. He can't go anywhere, and the referee has got a penalty kick against the Newcastle side once again, waving them out. This one's given about 25 metres out, Peter. Centre field, more or less centre field from the Knights goal line.
Okay, Harrigan limping off, even though he's going to the head bin. He won't be back on the field this afternoon. He's got a hamstring injury, I feel sure. Sideline eye, Tony McGay.
Well, it's been questioned, certainly. There's an official here asked the question of the Newcastle doctor, certainly. Harrigan's coming off the field, but they're questioning the reasons.
Okay, well, there's no doubt about it. He won't be back anyway, so...
he doesn't look crash shot.
No, he certainly doesn't. He certainly looks as though he's done a hamstring. I get the impression in this game, after only 24 minutes, that Newcastle have given of their best and that Canterbury Bankstown can come back. Canterbury Bankstown have withstood it and will come back in this game of football and maybe prove just a little bit too classy. I don't agree that Newcastle can continue in this game. Maybe I'm wrong. It'll remain to be seen. 24 minutes gone, and it's 2-0 in favour of Newcastle over Canterbury. Scrums in the game are 3-all, and the penalties are 4-3 to Newcastle. Jamie Corcoran taking an age to plant this football down.
He sure is. 25 metres out, 26 maybe. Had a pinch.
Thought he was growing potatoes out there.
Centre field, he'd been digging long enough, but he's got it up on the mound now like an Atlas missile as he comes in now and he whacks her. What does he do? Oh, he whacks her straight over the dot. Even Steven on that Mitsubishi scoreboard.
2 points all here in Newcastle after 25 minutes of play. So 2 points to Newcastle in the opening 5 minutes. 20 minutes later in the 25th minute, it's Canterbury squaring the situation here with a penalty goal by Jamie Corcoran. So 2 points all on the Mitsubishi scoreboard, Canterbury and Newcastle. For an update at the SCG, Australia and France, Terry Smith.
Australia still lead 9-3, 3 penalty goals by Michael Liner.
Australia 9, lead France 3, and France have got a player sent off for stomping on the head of an Australian player. There's the restart of play, and it's Canterbury Bankstown starting to get a bit of a move on in this game of football here at the Newcastle International Sports Centre. It's 2 points all.
Back it goes this time to Corcoran once again, working hard. I'm sorry it's not. It's the centre three-quarter, Mark Robinson. Oh, Ewan McGrady getting away from one or two from the back of the ruck, but he's knocked down. We'll play it to Jason Alchin again from the back of the ruck. He tries to go forward. Nearly could have been pinched for a Shepherd with Gillespie then, but the referee says no, and Boyd makes the tackle. He's up the plate to Ewan McGrady across to Dean Pay. Again, Boyd comes in quickly to put him down. 10 short of the halfway line in Canterbury Bankstown territory. It's gone to Jason Alchin, a dummy half back to Andrew Farah. And again, Farah getting a kick down the centre of the ground. Right back into the in-goal area this one may go. It stops a metre short. Picked up by Gary Worth for the Newcastle side, and he's wrapped up before it can get to his own quarter line. Marty Creaker from the back of the ruck goes away, football tucked under the right arm and picks it up, but a penalty kick given to the Newcastle Knights, and he's pointing this time to Smith, saying 5 yards, young Darren.
Okay, so again, the referee has been very consistent in that area today. We're not seeing a lot of football because of it, but we expected a Dow struggle, and we're getting that. Deadlock situation, 2-all in Newcastle on the Mitsubishi scoreboard after 26 minutes of play. Sideline eye, Tony McGay.
The decision on Paul Harrigan is he's got a serious leg injury. He won't be back on the field. Boyd will remain.
Okay, so Boyd is on. That's bad luck for Newcastle because Harrigan was going very, very well early. But David Boyd on the field. He's a tough cookie. He's got a big job to do out there now. Newcastle into Canterbury's territory.
Back now it goes to Boyd. Boyd going to be wrapped up 8 metres over the halfway line in Canterbury territory. Getting up the plate to David Mullane. Across it goes this time to Anthony Butterfield. And down he goes under the tackle. 39 metres out from the Doggies goal line. He plays it to David Mullane once again. Across it goes to Steve Fulmer. Back again into the arms this time of Doyle out wide off. A good pass it was from Hagan, but Doyle wrapped up wide by Ryan. He'll play it to Marty Creaker. Goes back to Glenville. Creaker on the wraparound. Taken this time by Gillespie. High two. One tackle left to go. Still only 5 metres over the halfway line as Fulmer sends one straight back for Worth. Worth getting his kick downfield across to the wing this time of Robinson, but it's Jason Alchin going to pick it up first. He's got his mate with him, but he can only come out some 15 metres before he's knocked to the ground. Ewan McGrady at dummy half sends it across to Robinson. Robinson trying to get a bit of a run up, but smack dab into the forwards he ran. He was taken by Mullane and also Hagan over the top, nearly on his own quarter line. Back it goes to Alchin. Good pass to Glenn Nissen this time, taking the football outside of the Canterbury quarter line. Jason Alchin again at dummy half. Ewan McGrady there. Is he going to run? He's trying to get through the gap. Hagan wraps him up beautifully on the far side of the ground. 12 metres short of the halfway line. Jason Alchin at dummy half again, appealing to the referee for something, but it goes across to Farah. Farah trying to get around one or two, but a good tackle around the legs pulls him down. And it was Butterfield first man in with Boyd over the top. Back it goes to Alchin. Out now to Langmack now with a high kick too, and it's going to go... bounces, an A-grade bounce for Langer Zorba over the touchline, 24 metres out from the Knights goal line.
Yeah, he punted on and followed on there, and it took the A-grade bounce over the sideline, and it's 2-2 Canterbury now. Just outside the Newcastle Knights quarter line, scrum feed to the Newcastle side. They should win the scrum, they do.
Yeah, Marty Creeker at dummy on the back of the ruck. He makes a bust. Oh, good pass back to Gary Worth in the clear. One man to beat. It was the winger going across to Nissen, and he muffs it.
Yeah, and they've lost possession of the football. A good break there by Newcastle. Good work by Creek. A good pass. And Gary Worth messed it up there. Sideline eye, Tony McGay.
Well, he certainly should have. He only had to take that ball. He had a bit of space. There was another chance gone.
Yeah, certainly. And they're not that good a side that they can make these breaks and not make anything of them. I still maintain if Canterbury get a sniff of it, they will score.
Alchin across to Dean Pay. Oh, good bust too, but wrapped up around the legs this time. Former also over the top to claim him. Back it goes to Alchin to McGrady out to Langmack. Ewan McGrady on the wraparound, tries to go through one or two, but eventually he's knocked down with one left to go, just outside the Knights quarter line. He plays it this time. It goes across to Thomas. Thomas chips up over the top. Gillespie going through. Former reading the play beautifully for Newcastle. Goes back to retrieve the football and does so. Now he plays it. Marty Creeker from the back of the ruck outside his own quarter line. On a shoulder from Gillespie. Puts him down. That was a good one, Zorba.
It certainly was. Creeker's up the creek.
Creeker's up the creek. And now we've got Gordon going forward from the back of the ruck, and he's wrapped up too.
He ain't got any paddles.
Back it goes this time to Fulmer. Out now into the arms of Sargent. Not a lot of... Oh, he busts them open again. Now he starts to wind up. He looks back for Gordon, who can race. He has another look. Does a 360, looking desperately for support, but none there. And he is knocked to the ground by Langmack. Pushes him away. Plays it to Fulmer. Out again. Wide it goes to Hagan. Hagan's beautiful pass to Doyle as it goes back to Hagan again. Tries to duck and weave his way. He gives it to David Mullane now, who offloads out now to Granville. Glanville gives it across to Gordon, and hence that's where it all started.
It certainly did. Came back to it. Good defence by Canterbury. Strong defence. And once again, this Newcastle side put the grubber kick through by Doyle, but Jason Alchin picks it up beautifully.
Oh, yes, tried to get away from Doyle, manages to do it, but slips, and then again, Fulmer's there to knock him over.
9 minutes out from half-time, deadlock situation, 2-2 in Newcastle, the Knights and the Bulldogs.
Back we've got now Canterbury Bankstown in possession. Nissen plays it once again. Now the break's on, and it's the little fullback, Jason Alchin. He gives it back now. It went to Robinson, and Robinson's pass to Alchin went astray. The Knights come up with it through Doyle. Now Doyle offloads to Hagan, settles things down with a good pass to Glanville. He offloads to David Mullane, starts a bit of a run, looks back again, picks up Boyd coming through on the burst, and a good burst it was too, but Darren Smith's there to knock him down. Now it's played to Mullane, again across it goes down to Anthony Butterfield. Oh, good strong run from Anthony Butterfield. 10 out now from the Doggies goal line. And the Pups are in trouble. It's gone across now to Peter Johnson. Wide out to Hagan, a good one to Marty Creeker, and he is dead set up the creek.
Here he's knocked that ball on, and good attacking play by the Newcastle side. Gee, they've bombed some chances. The Dam Busters, thank heavens they were more on target than Newcastle. They have bombed try-scoring opportunity after try-scoring opportunity. Let's go to Terry Smith at the rugby for an update. Australia-France.
Michael Liner has kicked his fourth penalty goal for as many attempts. Australia 12, France 3. France without Abdel Banazi, who was sent off for stomping.
Okay, 12-3 to Australia. And Canterbury Bankstown in possession of the football. No, they're not. They've lost it.
Yep.
And that's a legitimate loss. That'll be a scrum. And a scrum will go down now. Canterbury. Second tackle there, losing possession of the football. But how many tries can Newcastle bomb in this first half? Sideline eye, Tony McGay.
What a mammoth front rowers game from Mark Sargent. 3 times he's broken the line, 3 times and nothing from it.
Yes, absolutely nothing from it.
Joe Thomas with a loose arm, desperately trying to grab hold of someone so he couldn't show it. But it goes out to Gary Worth down the blind side, but he's pulled the ground. Marty Creaker.
Good tackle by Darren Smith, getting out of that scrum very quickly.
A beauty. Back to Hagan. Again, dummies to Fulmer. Tries to go again. Just run out of places to run then.
Here comes Sargent. He says, I'll straighten it up.
Back it goes now to Mullane. He gives it to Sargent, as Peter says. Shows it to one. Gets it away again to Glanville, who offloads to Hagan. Back now to Boyd. All dressed up. Nowhere to go again. The Newcastle side as he plays it once again. Picked up by David Mullane. He picks up another valuable 10 metres. This time another chance for the Knights. 10 away from the Doggies goal line. Fulmer's a dummy half. He gives it across to Doyle. Doyle steps over the top of one. Gets a pass over to Krieger. And again, he's knocked the ball on.
Well, that was a horrible pass to Krieger. But I didn't like him at first slip for Australia. Oh. He's a Kiwi. And I tell you what, he's got to start picking a few of these balls up. The bounce was there for him, right into his bread basket and off the ground, but he should have picked it up. And he's dropped about 4 balls in the last 5 minutes here.
Yeah.
Butterfingers, Newcastle, sideline eye, Tony McGay.
There's a sugar bag going out now.
Penalty kick to the Canterbury Bankstown side. Inside the required distance from the set scrum, Newcastle, and this got the Dogs right out of trouble.
Yeah, it certainly has, Greg. They won the scrum and then got the penalty. A lot of talking going on out there today. 2 points all. We're 6 minutes out from half-time here at the Newcastle International Sports Centre in a beauty.
And we've got now, my mate, he's got a bit of a crook throat, but he's going to get through. Put that fire hydrant down there and turn the tap on, will you? The penalty kick finds touch on the far side, 12 metres out from the halfway line. Canterbury to take the free kick via Jason Alchin once again. He looks back at the touch judge, puts it down, didn't even attempt to tap it with his foot, as we see Dean Pay bite the dust. He'll play it once again to Alchin, goes across to Gillespie. It goes to Hugh and McGrady, wide out now to Andrew Farrer. Tries to come back inside 1 or 2, but Glanville's there to wrap him up.
It's a danger period for Newcastle now. They've been the better side in the first half, but they haven't got any points to show for it other than 1 penalty goal. Canterbury, if they go into the lead at half-time, they've got 5 minutes, vital 5 minutes now, and they'll really step on the gas now, this Canterbury side, and see what they can come up to do with it. There's a knockdown by the Canterbury Bankstown player in Paul Dunn, dived on by a Newcastle player, and it'll be a scrum feed to Canterbury Bankstown.
And the scrum will go down. Ewan McGrady going across to pick it up. And the referee had a choice there.
Big blind side here for McGrady to do something.
A whopper stopper.
I'd be running out to Creaker. The way he's been going, he'll fall over.
Back it goes now to Ewan McGrady for the feed. Canterbury will win it. And down he goes. The blind side can't get away from strong defence, but getting out quickly, David Boyd. He's had the ball reefed away from his possession, and he knows it too, but he's put his head down and he just walks or trots back to his position.
Okay, here's a chance for Canterbury. Andrew Farrer should find the sideline and then put the pressure on just before half-time. 4 minutes left. Can Newcastle handle the pressure that's going to come at them now from the professional Bulldogs of Canterbury Bankstown? Going to be a very interesting couple of minutes, and quite frankly, I think Canterbury will crack them right here and now.
Okay, free kick to be taken by Jason Alchin. He does so. He gives it back to Thomas, out there to Dean Pay. Oh, beautiful tackle by Sargent. Stopped him in his tracks. Up the plat to Alchin. Goes across to Hugh and McGrady, out wide to Dunn, standing very wide, but Fulmer's around. He's big set of pins. He plays it once again to Gillespie, out to Andrew Farrer. Farrer going to be wrapped up. 8 metres out now. Tackle, 3 gone for the Doggies. Gillespie's a dummy half. He looks at Ewan McGrady down the blind side, but it goes to Darren Smith, centre field to Alchin, out now to Lane Mack. Beautiful pass too on to Glenn Nissen, but he has nearly ripped apart in that tackle.
1.5 yards forward, that.
I agree. Back it goes to Dean Pay.
Well, why didn't you call it?
And Dean Pay, I left that for you. You're the give-up. Back it goes, 1 tackle left to go. It goes to Ewan McGrady. He turns it back to Gillespie, up over the top now. We've got to try. No, we haven't. No, we haven't. Well, I thought Corcoran going over, but no try, says the touch judge.
Gary Worth, a great tackle there, and the Dogs have missed their opportunity right on half-time. Oh, little McGrady, a little step and a jink, and then the ball to Gillespie, over the top to Corcoran, and Gary Worth putting him over the sideline there, and a good decision by the touch judge and the referee there, and the scoreline remaining at 2 points all, 3 minutes out from half-time. Newcastle 2, Canterbury Bankstown 2 here at the Newcastle International Sports Centre.
Peter Johnson up the platform, across to Boyd. Boyd tries to go past Pay, but he is put down.
Newcastle don't use their backs all that often, and they've really been catching a cold out there wide this afternoon. It's been nearly hit up right throughout the forwards, throughout the opening first half, and there's the man that's done the damage, Mark Sargent, but as Tony McGay said, nothing to show for it.
Yes, and he's throwing his arms up looking for a penalty, but he doesn't get it as Fulmer gives another one out now to Peter Johnson, offloads to David Mullane. Wide it goes to Hagan, and he picks up Gordon, who's found a gaping hole in the Canterbury defence. Oh, forward pass out to Robbie McCormack, and the referee picks it up.
Shocking pass from Gordon. He really just... He didn't give the ball quickly enough.
He waited it.
He waited too long, and then a dreadful forward pass out to McCormack, and another opportunity there. Not saying a try had come from it, but gee, they've bombed some chances. Some breaks that Newcastle have made in this game should have led to something, and it's 2-2 on that Mitsubishi Electric scoreboard, just 2 minutes out from half-time. Sideline eye, Tony McGay.
Gee, wouldn't you be spitting chips if you're a Newcastle forward? You had wingers destroying chances like that.
OK, there's a pass for Andrew Farrer. The referee, or the crowd, thought it was held, but the referee said play on. They're up to the halfway mark, the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs.
Yes, Langmack across to Joe Thomas. He tries to step inside one. He's got a one-arm cock pass ready to go, but couldn't float it away. Back now to Glenn Nissen, gives it across to Langmack again. To Jason Alchin, wide it goes to Andrew Farrer, nearly through the gap, but again wrapped up beautifully by Mark Sargent. A shade over the halfway line in Newcastle territory. Ewan McGrady holds one up, a long pass again wide to Joe Thomas. Doyle's got hold of him, but he turns it back to Ewan McGrady, races through, holds another one up, it goes out to Ryan, couldn't hang on to it. And we've got Doyle for the Newcastle side coming up with possession.
It's going to be 2-2 at half-time, I feel sure. 39 minutes gone in the game, and Newcastle really missing opportunities. That's the story of the first half for the Newcastle Knights, and their forwards have got through a mountain of work, and their backs now, who have really been neglected, and they're coming in now to try and help them out.
McCormack doing a bit of work now, only a little fella. He's easily taken over the top by Gillespie. Will play it on the halfway line. Back again to Stevie Fulmer, wrapped up, picked up 2 metres for his side. Done there to put paid to his bit of a run. He'll play it once again to Ashley Gordon. Back to Gary Worth. Worth again getting a kick downfield. Up over the head of Glenn Nissen. Oh, a fine kick it was too. A fine kick as the red flag goes out.
OK, so almost half-time here. It's 2 points all between Newcastle and Canterbury. There's the half-time siren going now. Newcastle 2, Canterbury Bankstown 2 here at the Newcastle International Sports Centre. Tough game of football. No tries in the opening 40 minutes. The scrums in the first half are 7-5 in favour of Canterbury Bankstown, and the penalties in the first half are 5-4 to Newcastle. 1 out of 1 for Marty Krecker, and 1 from 1 for Jamie Corcoran in the goal-kicking department. Krecker, a penalty goal in the 2nd minute, and in the 25th minute, Corcoran, a penalty goal for Canterbury Bankstown. 2-2 here. Let's update the score at the Sydney Football Stadium in the rugby test. Australia and France, Terry Smith.
Michael Liner has kicked his 5th penalty goal from 48 yards out. Australia 15, France 6.
15 points to 6. We'll get a half-time summary coming up shortly from Terry Smith. Warren Ryan, a very dogged contest here. You tipped that it'd be very, very close, and it certainly is. But, oh, gee, Newcastle have missed some opportunities, haven't they?
They have. The script's going well, according to the Ryan theory. There won't be 20 points scored by either side, although the tiredness factor could open things up. There's a weakness in the Newcastle side. They're weak at marker, and Jason Alchin exposed it. And that could be the area from which they break the deadlock, Canterbury. They might get their nose in front from a break at the marker, from a dummy half run by one of their quick players. Canterbury have got a weakness. They've got a weakness out on the right, on their right defence, which is Newcastle's left attack. But unfortunately, Krecker, he's been up the creek without a paddle on a number of occasions. He should have picked up a couple of passes there. Canterbury a bit weak when you hit back to their blind side, and that could be an opportunity that Newcastle could exploit if they could catch and pass the football. well. In fact, watching Newcastle play, you can almost see why they struggle to score points, can't you, Peter?
Yeah, well, their backs are just, they might as well not be there, Warren. I mean, Doyle's not a bad player, but, gee, their wingers aren't all that good with the football in their hands. They're not all that quick.
And McCormack was shown to be slower than Darren Smith, although Darren Smith's the real flyer, the second row forward for Canterbury. But in that run to the ball, when it was put ahead by, I think, Joe Thomas made a break put the ball ahead, Darren Smith shot past Robbie McCormack as though he was in reverse gear. So they've got a pace problem there in that particular position. But just looking at the game, you see Newcastle have a lack of finishing ability, probably because they don't spend a lot of time doing it. They predominate, or the game's dominated by their forwards. And if you notice, Peter, their forwards, the position in which they play the game, they operate down the very geographical middle of the field. They stay smack in the middle and go from goal post to goal post. Zigzag. They zigzag their ruck play a little bit.
All the runs, all the breaks, Warren, have been made right up that centre part of the field, within 10 metres of the actual centre of the field. Yeah,
they stay in the middle, which means they can at times just create little short backline plays on either side of that promotion when they go strongly down the middle. And each time they've gone left, they've looked like they've got a chance, but the ball's been put down, and it's just lack of polish, lack of finish. Otherwise, they could well and truly be in front in this game because they've done the spade work. Their forwards, have put in the elbow grease, but they must mutter and carry on about the back's finishing ability.
Warren, I'd rather be on Canterbury at this moment than Newcastle, even though Newcastle have dominated the game.
Yeah, you get that feeling that even though it's like, technically you can be getting defeated in the game, but on the scoreboard, Canterbury look specials to take out the points. Now, that almost smacks of the statistics, doesn't it? As I said, that while Canterbury only score a couple of points more in a game than Newcastle overall, Newcastle let something like 7 or so points more in, and you're almost on the edge of your seat saying any minute now there's going to be a 6-pointer to Canterbury, which will almost justify the statistics perfectly.
Yep, certainly does. Okay, Warren, it's a great crowd here again. 19,629 at Newcastle on Saturday afternoon football. They certainly love their game, don't they?
Well, they do, and I think that in this second half, I think we'll probably get a couple of tries. I think Canterbury, the way they're looking, I think they can crack Newcastle, and I'd be looking at a bloke like Jason Alshan or Joey Thomas, who I think is an unsung hero of the Canterbury side, to put a break on, and Canterbury will have the finishing power. I know they haven't got their little famous try scorer and backer up at Terry Lamb, but I think Canterbury will have the pace, and that Darren Smith, gee, he's quick, but they'll have the pace. If the breaks are made, I think they'll have the pace to put the finishing touches on the try. But I think that it'll be home by the skin of their teeth, Canterbury, in this one, because it's a tough, hard struggle, and the main thing I think in the second half is going to be possession. I think the side that dominates possession will get himself into a winning position, but whether Newcastle, for all the winning positions they get themselves in, whether they can get that ball over the try line remains to be seen. And as you in your call have pointed out, you get the feeling that Canterbury any minute now can grab the game, and a question of possession, perhaps penalties, which way the ball goes, but whoever's in possession, dominates possession in the second half, I think is going to win this game.
Okay, I get the impression too that Newcastle, inside the opposition quarter, because they've been so dominant in the forwards and they restricted to the forwards, when it goes to the backs, they don't know what to do with it.
Well, there's a funny thing about that, Peter. It's been a long-held view of mine, that players don't realise, and I often tell my teams this, that players don't realise that what holds good all the way down the field should hold good at the try line. Now, what happens is they get to the try line, and what's got them there has been this surge and this power in the forwards, and they immediately get there, and it's almost like they get stage struck, and they then start to play sideways. They don't go on with it. Now, if they could do what they do down the field when they get to the try line, their forwards would score. They don't need to go sideways when they get to the try line.
Yeah, very interesting point. Okay, Woz, thanks for that. We'll go to Terry Smith at the Sydney Football Stadium. Terry, a very fiery one there.
Well, half-time, Pete, Australia lead 15-6 in a try-less game. Michael Liner, 5 out of 5 penalty goals for Australia, and Didier Camberabero has kicked 2 penalty goals for France. France's tactics absolutely stupid, Pete. In the 3rd minute of play, Peter Fitzsimons got knocked down from behind. Penalty goal in front. Michael Liner kicked it 3-0. Then it was 3-3. Camberabero kicked a long-range penalty goal. Next thing, some Frenchman has absolutely flattened Tim Horan, the Australian centre, with a high tackle. Another penalty goal to Liner. Australia 6-3. Well, you'd think they would have learned their lesson by then, that this young English referee, Tony Spreadbury, isn't prepared to put up with any nonsense. But in the 17th minute of play, the French back rower Abdel Benazi walked all over an Australian player in a ruck, and Spreadbury sent him straight off. Liner kicked the goal 9-3. Now, Pete, that's absolute stupidity.
Yeah, it certainly sounds it, Terry, and everybody expected it.
Straight across field, up towards his own quarter, and he makes it 2 before being knocked down. Now it's played to Jason Alchin across this time to Darren Smith. If he gets in the clear, he'll take some pulling down, but he picks up 6 metres for the Canterbury Bankstown side. Alchin again at dummy half across to David Gillespie, tries to change. His tactics, comes back inside, beats former, taken over the top by Mullane. Back it goes to Andrew Farrer from the back of the ruck. He gets another good-looking kick downfield too, but it's going to be picked up by Marty Creeker. He turns 15 out from his own goal line and goes straight into a strong tackle by Joey Thomas. And it was a beauty too, also Andrew Farrer involved, but it's played now to Gary Worth, goes across out to Hagan, to Ashley Gordon. Gordon can go no further as he's pulled down over the top by David Gillespie just outside the Newcastle quarter line. It's gone this time into the arms of Mark Glanville, and Glanville knocked to the ground by Dean Pay. We'll get up to play at 24 metres out from the Henny Penny Chickens goal line. Oh, and again, Sargent goes over the top of one. He beat Paul Dunn beautifully there, but eventually knocked to the ground by David Gillespie. He'll play it to Fulmer. Fulmer sends it across this time to Butterfield, and Butterfield goes up with 1 tackle left to go. 5 metres on his own side of the halfway line. Gets up, plays it forward on his own. Tries to offload, does so back to Hagan. Getting a kick downfield too now, Hagan. And taken this time by young Jason Alchin. Trying to sidestep one. He got away from Doyle, but Fulmer's up there to knock him to ground just outside of his own quarter line. Langmack a dummy half. He's got Glenn Nissen alongside him, who carries it forward. He gives it back once again to Langmack. Wide it goes to Jamie Corcoran. He's looked after out wide, around the legs that time by Robbie McCormack. Playing it back to Ryan. Ryan from the back of the ruck, charging forward into a Mullane tackle, and he's 31 metres out from the Canterbury Bankstown goal line. Has gone to Alchin at dummy half, back to Dunn. Dunn can't get rid of it this time, taken over the top by David Boyd. And also Butterfield back to Alchin, then on to Dean Pay. He does a 360 and 3 nights there to eventually pull him down. 1 tackle left to go to Canterbury Bankstown. It's gone to Jason Alchin, now to Andrew Farrer once again, kicking down towards the wing of Marty Creeker.
Oh, he's caught it. He picked it up.
Picks that one up a lot better too, going across field and outside of his own quarter line. And he's knocked down now 26 metres away from his own goal line in the centre of the ground. It's played to Sargent, gives it back to Ashley Gordon trying to go forward, but he's wrapped up 30 out from his own goal line.
David Mullane, the hooker for Newcastle, who's had a pretty busy game this afternoon. He's in a bit of bother out there at the moment, and he's receiving attention from the trainer who's on the field. Newcastle trying to get some momentum going, and here's a run from Gordon, who has come in from the wing, and he's been a bit of a risk today too when he's come in field looking for work. Here's the man, Sargent.
Yes, and charging forward up over the halfway line once again. A swinging arm, but the crowd sucked him in. We'll have had a few of those. Andrew Farrer's the man I think going to be called out. Or is it David Gillespie? No, it's Andrew Farrer. Being spoken to now by the referee and asked to keep them down. And Andrew acknowledges the referee's decision.
Mark Sargent's laughing. I don't think he could hurt him with an axe.
Well, they're great mates, both Andrew and Mark, as you well know,
yeah,
Peter.
well, they shared the same house together in Canterbury Bankstown when they were playing. They've got a boarding house there and a few of the players in it. And Sarge was in there with Andrew Farrer. He was just laughing. As I said, you couldn't hurt him with an axe. Sideline eye, Tony McGay.
Well, he's got the reaction, Sergeant. They can't handle him today. Farrer and Gillespie both had shots.
Okay, and here's Newcastle inside good attacking territory. This is where they normally freeze. Maybe it's got to come from some brilliant work from Hagan, but not this time. He's caught in possession.
Yes, up the play at the Fulmer. He gives it across this time to David Boyd. Boyd getting up to the Canterbury quarter and knocked down centre field. We'll play it once again. The Stevie Fulmer serves one up this time for Peter Johnson charging forward, and he picks up 9 metres. They're only 11 away from Canterbury's goal line. Up to play it once again to Fulmer. Fulmer across this time to Gary Worth up in the line. Hagan sends one across this time to Butterfield. Butterfield now going to be wrapped up too and forced back away from the Canterbury quarter line. Plays it to Marty Creeker, offloading out this time to Glanville with a bit of a step to Mark Glanville, but pulled down. They've got one left to go, the Knights. Plays it to Fulmer, goes across this time to Gary Worth with a high kick. They're all on side. Ashley Gordon screaming through. Oh, but taken beautifully by Robinson, Peter.
Beautiful take by Robinson, and it'll be a tap from the corner. Well taken by Robinson, but Once again, we saw Newcastle with 6 tackles in a good attacking area, and they didn't gain 1 metre. They stayed exactly where they started the sequence from the tap from the penalty. And once again, Newcastle failing to come up with anything different to try and crack the Canterbury Bankstown defence. Canterbury with possession of the football, and mind you, Newcastle's defence has been pretty good all day game too. Canterbury struggling to get through it as well, so it's a stalemate here. It's 2 points all on the Mitsubishi Electric scoreboard. 5 gone in the second half. Here's McGrady.
Yeah, tried to cut loose, forces the pass. It's gone forward, says the referee, and going through to dive on it, Andrew Farah for Canterbury, but the referee says no.
Well, I think on that occasion, Greg, the referee was in the way, and I think that the referee prevented Newcastle from diving on the ball, and I think he got out of that the best way that he could have. Okay, here's the scrum feed, won by Newcastle.
Straight out now to Gary Worth. Worth again trying to go past the Farah tackle, but can't do that. He's hurt Langmack on the way through. Worth gets up to play it back to Robbie McCormack to Former. Former's pass is a dreadful one, and Peter Johnson racing back to dive on it.
Well, Langmack's in trouble. He just waved and said, I've got to come off, and it's his arm, and he is, it's limp by his side, and he must have heard a crack there. Let's wait and see what happens. Newcastle now coughed up possession. Canterbury in possession.
Andrew Farah, the man with the football tucked under the arm, up the plat. Back to McGrady, out once again to Jason Alchin, on to Dean Pay, doing the heavy work and picking up yards for Canterbury. He's pulled down by Boyd. Plays it now, back it goes to Dunn, out to Joe Thomas. Good part on to Darren Smith, but Smith again wrapped up 15 metres out from the Newcastle goal line. Jason Alchin across to Dunn, back it goes to Alchin, juggles, offloads now out to Joe Thomas. Thomas drops it up the end of the toe. Marty Creeker on the chase. 3 Canterbury players too, but he's going to get back into the field of play. And he does just that, 9 metres out from his own goal line.
Good run by Creeker. We bagged him in the first half, but that was excellent covering work by Marty Creeker. Sideline-eyed Tony McGay.
Well, Langmack ruled himself out of this match originally, but he looks like the arm went numb on him, but he's back into the action.
Okay, so there it is. Langmack, not as bad as he first thought, but he's carrying it like the fugitive in that old TV program. Richard Kimball, he is at the moment.
The one-arm man. Oh,
looks like a poker machine and a football jumper.
Back it goes now to Peter Johnson. He's knocked down. We'll get up the plat. Back to Former. Good pass across this time to David Mullane, and picks up valuable yards. Steps over the top of Corcoran's tackle, but eventually is taken by Langmack. And still by one arm too, I might add. Former getting it to Gary Worth. Worth's kick downfield is a good one. It's gone past young Jason Alchin. Alchin to pick it up 5 out from his own goal line. He turns. Plenty of defenders up there too. Boyd in for the first hit, and it's a good one to pull him down. He'll play it this time. Glenn Nissen. Nissen passing off this time into the arms of Robinson. Robinson taken 2 and a fair tackle. 15 metres out from his own goal line. Alchin's got Nissen once again for a bit of a run, looking for the gap, but again closing it up. Very good tackle too by Sargent over the top.
7 minutes gone in the second half. Still no change to the half-time score. 2 points all. Canterbury probing at the moment through Cement Gillespie. He makes it up 50 metres out from the Dogs' goal line. 2 all, Canterbury Bankstown, and Newcastle, and a good pass by Joe Thomas onto Paul Dunn, but Dunn, he's knocked it on, and he shows his disgust. He retrieves it and then throws the football away, so a scrum will go down now, 52 metres out from the Canterbury Bankstown goal line, and Andrew Farah standing up as far as he can without conceding the penalty. Fulmer's got the football now. He'll put it into the scrum.
Coming up now, as we said, to work this one for the Newcastle side. He does just that. They win it too. Down the blind side goes Gary Worth, a big blind too. Steps over the top of McGrady, but eventually taken by Smith. Ashley Gordon from the back of the ruck now will try to get into the quarter line, and he does too. And again, Smith the tackler. He'll play it 18 metres away from Canterbury Bankstown's goal line to Former. Out wide it goes to Hagan, then on to Butterfield. Butterfield looks to try and offload it. Dunn's over the top of him, and he goes down on the Canterbury quarter. We've got Former offloading from the back of the ruck. Once again, it goes to Glenville. He's going to be wrapped up, but eventually knocked down.
Well, the forwards have got to start doing what they do at the other end of the field. They can't make yards out wide. They've got to go up the ruck.
Back it goes to Hagan. Wide it goes this time to Robbie McCormack. He stands one of all. He's beaten Van Nissen. They've gone over. Oh, that was a darn good try. Well, he stood Nissen up out wide, and the Knights have scored their try.
Canterbury Bankstown have opened up out wide, and it's a good try to Robbie McCormack. Just when I thought they should be going up the centre, they went out wide, and Hagan threw the pass to McCormack, but Nissen was running around, didn't know where he was. He came in, he went out,
He went out, and McCormack's run around him, and finally we've got a try. 9 minutes into the second half, and Nissen went in, he went out, and it was too late. McCormack was gone. In for the try for Newcastle, and the Knights lead by 6 points to 2 with a try scored by Robbie McCormack 9 minutes into the second half.
Marty Creaker, 10 metres in from touch on the far side of the ground, and he's about 24 metres out from the Canterbury Bankstown line. That was a good try, 1-on-1, and the man, young Robbie McCormack, he beat his man Glenn Nissen dead to right.
Well, Nissen came in, then turned around, and McCormack was running at his back, and he just said, oh, this is easy. Maybe he should have sent it out wide, but didn't have to. And a 6 points to 2 lead, and, well, the points have been at a premium here this afternoon, and maybe Newcastle now with that opening try of the second half, opening try indeed of the game, can go on with it.
Well, they've had enough chances. There's no risk in the world about that. It's going to be now a kick from 24 metres out from the Canterbury Bankstown goal line. As I said, some 10 metres in from touch on the scoreboard side, the Mitsubishi scoreboard side of this Newcastle International Sports Ground. He takes a heck of a long time too, this bloke, having it set, having a look, saying a prayer. He comes in now, Marty Creaker. What's he done? Oh, he's kicked it. Well, if you make sure, to heck with the time, he's got the 2 points.
Yeah, good conversion by Creaker, and that gives the Newcastle side a handy lead of 8 points to 2 on the Mitsubishi Electric scoreboard. 6 point margin now, 2 out of 2 for Marty Creaker, and that is the scoreline, 8 points to 2 to the Newcastle side over Canterbury Bankstown. Let's go to the Sydney Football Stadium. Terry Smith at the rugby.
Australian fullback Greg Martin has crashed over for a try beside the post. Michael Liner kicked the goal. Australia 21, France 6.
Australia 21-6. Sideline eye, Tony McGay.
Well, there's a weakness in that Canterbury centre. Ryan and Corcoran didn't adjust. McCormack was left unmarked. That beautiful ball from Hagan.
Yeah, certainly was a good ball from Hagan, and they've cracked them out wide. Exactly where I didn't think they could do it, but they've done it. And now they've got their tails up the Knights. Newcastle lead by 8-2. Can Canterbury come back?
Well, Boyd now in possession. And David Boyd up now to play at centre field. It goes back to Hagan. Out now to Doyle. Fuller running too. They know now. They've got their feathers up now, the Knights. No risk in the world. Back it goes into the arms of Gary Worth, getting his kick downfield too, across to Glenn Nissen, taking it inside his own quarter line. Manages to get out and will play it 26 metres away from the goal line, Canterbury into the ground to McGrady. And McGrady can only pick up another couple of metres for the Doggies as he's knocked down over the top that time by Butterfield. He'll play it this time to Jason Alchin. Wide it goes now to Robinson. Bounces off one, still going. But eventually he's knocked to the ground. He'll get up to play it. A player from the Knights on his back as Joe Thomas takes it forward. He bounces off 1-2. David Mullane down after a shoulder charge. It was from Joe Thomas. Now he bites the dust too, as we see Dunn giving it back to Gillespie. Gillespie across this time to Darren Smith. If he can get his head in front, he'll take some pegging back, this young bloke, but he's pulled down a shade over the halfway line in Newcastle territory. And we've got a penalty kick to the Canterbury Bankstown side against David Boyd. He's a good player, but gee whiz, he's a risk with the penalties, Pete.
Well, I really think there that, well, Darren Smith was looking to play the ball on the last tackle, and it was just a hand come through, and obviously the referee had called on him to play it, and the penalty's been given, but he blew his whistle quickly. There's the kick for the sideline, and here's Canterbury's chance to hit straight back at Newcastle. 13 minutes gone in the second half. The Knights lead 8-2. Is Canterbury's best opportunity of the second half. They're just outside the Newcastle quarter, and they've got 6 tackles.
McGrady giving it back to Gillespie, and Gillespie going to be wrapped up now on the Newcastle quarter line. We have tackle 1. It's back once again to Jason Alchin, out to McGrady, to Dunn. Good pass to Langmack. Dummies tries to come back a different direction. Offloads nevertheless to Dean Pay, who is standing flat-footed. He's knocked down, gets up to go again. And Butterfield's there to wrestle him to ground. 15 metres away from the Knights goal line. Jason Alchin takes off. Oh, pass intercepted by Michael Hagan, and it was on to Hagan then eventually is taken.
Well, it was a beautiful bust by Jason Elchin, but Hagan, former Canterbury teammate, knew all about that pass and he took it beautifully. That saved a very dangerous situation. That could be the turning point in the game for this Newcastle side, and it was a missed opportunity for Canterbury, but as Warren Ryan said at half-time, gee, they open up around that ruck area. Poor marker defence. Here's Jeffrey Doyle, who's really a forward playing in the back. And a good strong run. He makes it up 30 metres out.
Mullane now giving it across to Peter Johnson. And Johnson still going down into the Canterbury quarter area, but eventually knocked to the ground.
If they can score another try, they'll wrap it up, Newcastle.
They will. 19 metres out. They've got one tackle left to go. Up the flat to Mullane. Sends it across this time to Worth. He takes a chance, puts the high ball up. Marty Creeker racing through to take it, but again Robinson there for Canterbury on the full back to the quarter line.
Well, his height is a great advantage to little Jason Elchin. Elchin there let Robinson take that ball, and Robinson has done that twice in the second half so far for the Canterbury Bankstown side. Okay, Canterbury Bankstown in possession of the football now. Dean Page just struggles a few metres for Canterbury Bankstown, almost 10 in the end. Sideline eye, Tony McGay.
A bad head gash here for Joey Thomas. He's getting advantage at the moment.
Okay, so Thomas, who has been off the field with a head cut, having treatment again now, on the sideline.
Now we've got Andrew Farrer trying to duck and weave his way past the Knights defence, but he's pulled down once again, and as Joey would say, it's only pain. He'll get up to play the ball. Jason Elchin's a dummy half. He gives it across this time to McGrady. Out to Langmack. McGrady again on the wrap, but can't get his pass away as he's taken over the top by Fulmer. Fulmer now gets back to his position as we see Elchin kicking downfield for the Canterbury Bankstown side. And going back now, Gary Worth to field the football, but then Glenn Nissen over the top, 10 metres out from his own goal line, knocks him to ground. Ashley Gordon's into the dummy half position. From there, he tries to go across field. He gets around Langmack. Plenty of pace, too. If he gets into the open, he'll take some pigging back, but he's caught by Andrew Farrer. And now he's getting up to play the ball. Farrer goes down. He plays it now to Fulmer. Gives it a good pass across once again to Anthony Butterfield charging forward. But he has lost the football. Knocked back, says the referee. So we'll see now Fulmer Platt for the Newcastle side to Hagan. Goes across now to David Boyd. And Boyd will be pulled down 38 metres out from the Newcastle goal line. And big Mark Sargent putting his head down and taking three of the Canterbury players out of the line, 8 short of the halfway line.
They're very committed, Newcastle, and there's the penalty in the play the ball. And Newcastle lead by 8-2, and this crowd starting to urge them on. 19,629, one try scorer in the game, and that's Robbie McCormack. And now it's the kick for the sideline by Gary Worth to get Newcastle inside the Canterbury territory again, and he finds the sideline now, 11 metres inside Canterbury territory. Canterbury, a win today can take them to the lead in the Winfield Cup. A win can put Newcastle back in the final 5 race, and they know it, and the big crowd knows it. And what a game of football we've got on our hands now.
Back it goes now to Boyd. Boyd going to be taken by Joe Thomas back onto the field, and his head heavily bandaged. Back to Mullane now. Mullane gives it across to Jeff Doyle again, still full of running. The centre 3/4 from the Newcastle side. Mullane a dummy half to Fulmer. Wide it goes this time to Hagan. Beautiful pass back inside to Gary Worth. No doubt he's the playmaker, Hagan, but Worth now will get up to Platt. Back it goes to Mullane, across now to Boyd. Boyd shaping up, can't go past the tackle of young Darren Smith, and a good one it was too.
Field goal would be handy for Newcastle. They lead by 6. Oh, it's a shocker.
Yeah, straight into the arms of Joey Thomas. Didn't get off the ground.
He looks as though he's been a Gallipoli, Joe.
Back now it goes to Robinson. Robinson trying to get a pass away, but then very well taken over the top by Peter Johnson and Marty Creeker. Joey Thomas, a dummy half across to Elchin. Good pass out now to Boyd. Glanville over the top this time of Gillespie to knock him to ground. Gillespie up the Platt. Once again to Jason Elchin, trying to get away from the back of the ruck, and he picks up about 6 metres.
18 minutes gone in the second half. Newcastle 8, lead Canterbury Bankstown 2.
Langmack giving one across to Smith again. Doesn't look this time for support. And Glenn Nissen overran the football. He was the only one there. But Langmack gives across now to Dunn. Dunn trying to straighten up the attack. Good tackle by David Mullane on Dunn. 10 short of the halfway line. 1 tackle left to go. And we've got Farrer again for Canterbury. Kicking downfield to Gary Worth outside of his own quarter line. Coming across towards the centre. Straightens up the attack and goes to ground. 10 metres short of the halfway line. Still in Newcastle territory as Fulmer gives one out to Doyle again. bumps off one, goes down, wasn't held, but then claimed by Dunn over the top on the halfway line.
He's a juggernaut Doyle, isn't he? Certainly runs into them, and this Newcastle side, gee, they're a very physical side. Here's the winger now who comes in every now and then, Gordon, and the hearts of the fans go in their mouths when he does.
Yeah, back now to former dummy half once again to Peter Johnson. He's pulled a big one out too, but he's lost possession of the ball. The referee's either got it. Yeah, well, we've got it all right. It's Darren Smith getting it for Canterbury. He plays it to Farah, goes across to Joe Thomas, turns it outside now to Nissen. Nissen well and truly wrapped up for his trouble, a metre short of the halfway line.
That's Ryan, I think.
It was Ryan, Pete. Sorry about that one. Back it goes now to Hugh and McGrady, and McGrady going to be claimed over the top two, trying to get off into Platt. They're all hanging on in these play the balls now. Alchin, oh, he gives it to Dean Pay, and so does David Mullane give it to him.
Good player, Mullane. He's had a very good game for this Newcastle side today. Farah now in possession of the football.
Oh, throws a shocking pass, diving on it now, and picking it up, Jason Alchin. The referee said that one could go. Oh, there's the gap, there's the break, and it's McGrady. Can he step one or two? But he goes down some 15 metres out from the Newcastle goal line. Plays it to Jason Alchin. It goes to Langmack. They desperately need to try back to Dunn. Dunn trying to see if he can offload it, but they'll, well, he's knocked it on anyway.
Not one forward pass there, two in that movement, and he allowed play to go to almost within a couple of metres of the Newcastle line, and a shepherd involved there too. But anyway, Newcastle, here's Ashley Gordon, and he's tackled 10 metres out from his own goal line. 20 minutes to go for Newcastle. Creaker says I'll have a go.
Oh, and he beats Joey Thomas. Not too many do. Good run from Marty Creaker. He'll get up now to play it. Fulmer's a dummy half. He turns it across this time to David Mullane. As Zorba said, I agree.
Big second half from this fellow.
10 play, and he's now going to play the ball to Fulmer. Out now to David Boyd, running two very strongly up towards the halfway line before he's put away by Darren Smith. Fulmer's a dummy half. He gives it back to Butterfield again, and not Butterfingers on that occasion. One tackle left to go to Newcastle. Fulmer's a dummy half. He sends it across once again to Gary Worth, putting kick downfield, and it's going to go right back into the in-goal area. This time Nissen's there to pick it up. He gets out into the field to play some 5 or 6 metres.
Good play by Newcastle. Good chasing. They're driving Canterbury backwards, and Canterbury struggling at the moment to overcome this very, very determined effort from Newcastle. There were times in the first half where I thought that maybe Canterbury were coming back a little bit, but Newcastle have kept their nose in front. They lead by 8 points to 2 on the Mitsubishi scoreboard. A converted try needed by Canterbury. It almost came from McGrady a few moments ago, but didn't eventuate. And there's Joe Thomas trying to milk a penalty, and the referee says, no way, Curl.
And the scrum is going to go down, and Joe was not impressed with the ruling from the referee. I think the referee was spot on that occasion. The scrum to be fed by Fulmer for the Newcastle side on the Canterbury quarter. They win it too. It goes across now out to Hagan, holds it up. He was just waiting forever and a day for Gary Worth to arrive on the scene, and it took him, he should have got a cab to get there.
It was a shag on a rock, and he got you-know-what on from above.
He sure did. Now we've got Gary Worth going forward, but wrapped up once again. He'll get up the flat. Langmack was the tackler, hanging on for a heck of a long time.
This is where they really struggle, when they get into this area.
Well, they tried to pass away, and you're dead spot on, straight into the arms of Ryan for Canterbury. McGrady giving it across this time to Corcoran.
Okay, Corcoran tackled 30 metres out from his own goal line. 23 minutes gone on the Mitsubishi Electric scoreboard. 8-2 in favour of Newcastle over Canterbury Bankstown. Let's go to the Sydney Football Stadium for an update. The rugby test, Australia and France. Terry Smith.
Quarter one out to go, Pete. Australia cruising 21 points to 9. France a man short. They're shot first.
Okay, shot frogs. And it's a penalty now to Newcastle, and that was a play the ball from Jason Alchin, complaining to the referee that he moved off the mark, and the referee has given the penalty, and the penalty starting to go Newcastle's way in this game. They now lead the penalty department by 8-5.
It's amazing, you know, some of the penalties, Peter, we've had a look at from the play the ball. We've seen players walk off the mark all afternoon.
Okay, sideline eye, Tony McGay.
Well, they're having trouble scoring, Newcastle, but they don't need to anymore. Those forwards are still grinding it out. Canterbury's only hope is Alchin or McGrady.
Okay, so there it is from Tony McGay. And right now, Marty Creaker, this would be probably about as long as he'd like to have a shot at.
Corcoran, but the bust was on by Andrew Farrer.
Tremendous break by Andrew Farrer, and that puts the Dogs back in the game. Gee, I think Corcoran should have looked around, and there was no cover coming across. He could have run around Corcoran, but it was a good pass from Joe Thomas. A beautiful pass from Thomas, who's had a big game, and a weak attempt to tackle there by a Newcastle player, but that was certainly an excellent try to Canterbury. Jeff Doyle missed Corcoran, and so too did little Steve Fulmer, and he raced over and dived over in the corner for the try. Elchin to Joey Thomas, and Thomas's pass to Jamie Corcoran. There was no one coming across, and he could have run around Corcoran. It's 8 points to 6 here with a kick to come, and I was just saying Canterbury could come back. They wouldn't give up, and they've scored the try. 8 points to 6 now with a kick to come for Jamie Corcoran.
And Corcoran's only 2 metres in from touch, just outside the Newcastle quarter line, trying to attempt the conversion of that good try by Jamie Corcoran. Well, the try scorer and the kicker.
Okay, and coming off for Newcastle is Gary Worth. Glenn Friendo on, Gary Worth off.
I watched Friendo in the lower grades. He was lucky to stay on the ground, believe it or not, but the boos go up. Here's the kick now. There she goes, but he's going to push it away to the right-hand side. No goal.
Okay, 1 out of 2 for Jamie Corcoran. 8 points to 6 on the Mitsubishi scoreboard. There's still plenty of time, though, for this Canterbury Bankstown side. It's 8-6, and Newcastle showing signs of wear and tear here at the Newcastle International Sports Stadium this afternoon. Newcastle 8, the Canterbury Bankstown 6, and there are now 12 minutes left for play.
And Friendo on the field, as Peter pointed out. Centre of the halfway, Marty Creeker again.
And one of those score lines, Warren Ryan Davis, was 8-6.
Yes, I know it was.
Yes, you do.
I'm remembering it because he had the Samsung calculator down there.
He certainly did. 8 points to 6 for one of his scores. Well, he's 12 minutes out from that score line.
Yep.
If it remains at exactly the same score it is now.
Great judge, old Wazza.
Okay, not so much of the old. There's the restart of play. They kick it down to Robinson. Canterbury have got a sniff of it now, and they'll come back very strongly. The survival of the fittest here. Little Elton, they've got more game breakers.
Oh, they sure have, and he ducked under a high one from Fulmer, but he's up the plate now. Back it goes to Joe Thomas. Blood coming out of his melon, but it won't slow him down. He's up the plate to Welch, and again gives it out this time to Paul Dunn charging forward.
Greg, when you go back to where that try came from, it was a lack of discipline from Fulmer on Ewan McGrady. Penalty. Good run from Farrer.
Yep.
Mistake by Canterbury by the Newcastle side. Try Canterbury. All coming from a bad mistake by little Steve Fulmer on his opposite halfback, Ewan McGrady, way back on the Canterbury side of halfway. So if they hadn't have done that, maybe they'd still be in the box seat.
Ashley Gordon makes the break. He's a slick customer, this bloke, but he's pulled down by McGrady. Up the plate, 32 out from the Knights goal line to Fulmer. Gives it once again to Butterfield. Butterfield 8 short of the halfway line, still in his own territory. Once again, he'll play it to Fulmer, who offloads to Jeff Doyle, who missed the tackle earlier, but Doyle now struggles downfield. Well and truly into Canterbury territory now. Fulmer gives it across now to David Mullane. A good game from this bloke this afternoon, but he's going to be wrapped up 30 metres out from the Canterbury Bankstown goal line with 1 left to go. Now Fulmer gives it back to Friendo, drops it off the end of the toe. And they're all offside, particularly Hagen, says the referee, but it's picked up by Jason Elchin. Elchin can't get past Hagen's tackle, and he's pulled down 13 metres out from the Canterbury line.
Okay, Canterbury running with great gusto now, and good games from Corcoran and McGrady, and also from Joe Thomas in this second half have lifted them. And here's the Canterbury side. Gene Page kept going. Canterbury, plenty of courage. 10 minutes out in a good, tough, rugged game of football in Newcastle. The Dogs coming back.
Robinson back to Elchin. Oh, he gave it to Ewan McGrady, who saw the gap.
Oh, he was in the gap.
He put it down, but we've got now Mark Sargent for the Newcastle side playing it back this time to Butterfield. He gets rid of one, but then he's taken over the top by Paul Dunn. The man he pushed away too, but he's hurt himself in doing so. Was Langmack getting up very slowly to play it. Oh, very slowly to play it. Back it goes now to Friendo from the back of the ruck. He tries to make ground. Dunn's got hold of him, and he's pulled him down 30 metres out from the Canterbury Bankstown goal line. We'll play it once again to Fulmer. It goes across to Glanville. Glanville trying to go over the top of Joe Thomas and Company. And a good strong burst from him. He'll play it on the Dogs quarter line to Fulmer. Gives it out to David Boyd. Boyd charging forward now. One tackle left to go. They're 12 metres out from the Canterbury Bankstown goal line. Fulmer, a long one across the Hagen, drops it off the end of the toe, but beautifully cleaned up by that smite, Glenn Nissen.
Yeah, good take by Nissen. That was a good kick by Hagen. If he could have got it behind Nissen, there would have been problems. Oh, and McGrady almost through. Sideline eye, Tony McGay.
It's hard to get up this other end. They've still got a bit of petrol in Newcastle forwards, but McGrady almost flipped them again.
Yeah, it's the backs that they got in trouble, Newcastle. If Canterbury can get the ball out wide, that's where they should be heading in these final few moments, and to grab a match-winning try in this game. Their wingers and their centres too fast for the opposition.
Now David Gillespie tries to make a half break, still going, gives it back now to Jason Ouch, and he gets around one and he picks up Dunn coming through. He beats two, still going downfield. Oh, he's had the ball pinched. The pinch was on, and Hagen, for the Knights, just nipped it out of his possession.
Well, Michael Hagen, an intercept and then a pinch there, and certainly he's done his job for Newcastle this afternoon. The skipper's really been like a thief in the night, pinching the football off these Canterbury Bankstown players on a couple of occasions today. Sideline eye, Tony McGay.
He's down Hagen. I'm wondering about that shoulder, but certainly he's slowing it up. A bit of experience and old head.
Okay, here's Newcastle now. Here's Marty Creaker coming in, trying to work the ball away from their own territory, and he makes it up inside the Canterbury territory. They're running out of juice too, both sides here, and I don't blame them. It's been a hectic struggle here all afternoon. 33 minutes gone of the second half, 7 minutes left for play, and Newcastle lead by 8-6 on the Mitsubishi scoreboard.
Fulmer in possession. Up now to play it. 40 metres out from the Canterbury goal line to Peter Johnson. Goes across to Glanville once again. Ducks under one. Dunn's got him there to knock him to ground. One left to go, says the referee, as we see Fulmer giving it back to Hagen once again with his kick up over the head of McGrady. Back it goes this time to Jason Ouch, and he's on his Pat Malone back there. Oh, and he just slips over again. I don't know what's wrong with these sprigs on these shoes.
Good play by Michael Hagen, driving the ball deep and now wanting his side to defend again, and that's the tactics of Newcastle. They're going to try and hang on to this 2-point lead. Here's Farah, great bust.
To McGrady, and Ewan McGrady, he's going to be knocked down 28 metres out from the Canterbury Bankstown goal line. Now we've got Jason Alchin again, a dummy half across the Langmack. What can he do? Nothing. Flicks it away once again to Alchin. Out wide it goes to Robinson. Robinson taken on by Doyle. Doyle does the job 10 short of the halfway line. He's put down Jason Alchin again from the back of the ruck. Across now to Joey Thomas. Wide it goes to Darren Smith. He's got some toe too. Out wide he was when he took that. But he's going to be knocked down just short of the halfway line, still in Canterbury territory.
Last tackle for Canterbury Bankstown. They'll kick it.
Joe Thomas does just that, drops it off the end of the toe. Picked up by Glenn Frendo. Knights in possession and racing around one or two. Can he beat a second one? He sure does, but then taken around the legs by Dunn.
6 minutes to go. Newcastle in possession. They're running out of juice. Here's Ashley Gordon, the winger, and he's tackled now a few metres short of the halfway mark in Newcastle territory.
Back it goes to Fulmer. Fulmer again giving it across to Peter Johnson, who's been a workhorse this afternoon, but he's knocked down. We'll play it just short of the halfway line. Back it goes to Fulmer again across to Sargent. Sargent makes another break, but he's pulled to ground.
Okay, for the Newcastle side, Tony Kemp on for Marty Creaker.
Kemp on, and Doyle charging forward still. Jeffrey Doyle, they've got one left to go. The Newcastle Knights, as we see Frendo getting his kick again downfield. Robinson having to go back to field this one. Does so, gets back into the field of play. Doyle goes up. Oh, he nearly passed. Well, I think he's lost possession of the ball. He has.
What a silly pass. What a silly pass from Robinson there. Right on his own goal line. And Newcastle have forced a mistake. Oh, Robinson hanging his head. He desperately hung onto the ball and then lost it and knocked it forward. And it's a scrum feed to Newcastle. Touch judge in to tell the referee something. Yeah, there's a player down injured on the ground, and they're calling for a stretcher. It's Paul Dunn.
Yes, it is Paul Dunn, Peter, and time's been called off by the referee.
He's in a lot of pain with a leg injury.
Okay.
He's in a lot of pain with a leg injury, and the tough judge, on the advice of the trainer, and they're calling a stretcher onto the field here with 4 minutes left for play plus injury time. There's been a little bit of that. Sideline eye, Tony McGay.
Well, Peter, all we can see at the moment is it is a leg injury, but a stretcher's been called for Paul Dunn. They're loading him on now, and the game has stopped.
Okay, Andrew Farrer, the skipper of the Canterbury side, coming to check the situation with Paul Dunn, and Dunn hanging onto his head in pain here, and he's in a lot of pain, is Paul Dunn. Tough customer, good player, and it's a sad sight to see him stretched off the Newcastle International Sports Centre. Coming on for Canterbury Bankstown in jumper number 25 is Simon Gillies. Simon Gillies on for Paul Dunn for the Canterbury Bankstown side, and a scrum feed to Newcastle.
And it goes in now from Fulmer. They win it too. Fulmer picking it up, tries to go on his own. Langmack out to pull him to ground. He'll get up to Platt. Back it goes now to Glanville, a dummy half again from the back of the ruck. Tries to go on his own. Greedy guts. He should be getting this out to these Newcastle backs. Fulmer from the back of the ruck. And again they go on their own, and he's pulled down 5 metres out from the Canterbury Bankstown goal line.
Unimaginative stuff from Newcastle, but it's working.
Mullane going forward, and he's knocked down still 2 metres away from the Dogs goal line. Up to Platt to see Fulmer. Fulmer this time gets the pass away, but a penalty kick given to Canterbury. Didn't heel it through, Peter.
Yeah, he did, you know.
Did he?
Yes, he certainly did.
Okay.
I don't agree with that penalty. I think that's a very, very tough penalty, only a half a metre out. And the referee has ruled against the play the ball from Newcastle. He was interfered with when he was trying to play it, and it was an ordinary play the ball, but he did touch it with his foot, to my mind. Maybe the referee was right, but I think it was a harsh call. 3 minutes left for play plus injury time. Canterbury need a break and a long-distance try. They've got it in them, but it's going to be tough.
Andrew Farrer plays it. Now it goes across to Dean Payoff. A good pass it was from Jason Alchin once again.
They've got to try and run around them, Greg. That's what they've got to do in these final few minutes.
Simon Gillies charging forward now, and again wrapped up by Butterfield. 40 out from their own goal line. Canterbury Bankstown. Alchin serves one up for Joe Thomas. A long one. It goes back from it was Jamie Corcoran, and a pass coming back inside for either Darren Smith or another Canterbury player was knocked down. And laughing to David Boyd, saying, we've got this game. And he's just treating him with contempt now, Boyd.
Well, it's not over yet. There's still a couple of minutes left for play. 2 points the difference. It's Newcastle 8, lead Canterbury Bankstown 6. Paul Marquette on for a good performer today in the hooker in David Mullane.
And we've got now, it's Kemp going forward. He's going to be wrapped up too. We'll play the ball back. It goes to Fulmer. Good pass out now once again to David Boyd. And Boyd wrapped up some 38 metres out from the Canterbury goal line. Frendo with a kick downfield, charging through. But again, Robinson there for Canterbury to pick up the football 10 metres out from his own goal line.
1 minute plus injury time. Sideline eye, Tony McGay.
They don't deserve to lose this Newcastle pack. They've worked too well today.
Yeah, they certainly have. It's a minute out from full time plus injury time left in the game, and they've hemmed this Canterbury side in their own territory, and they're struggling to get out. Maybe a chip and a chase. They've got to do something, Canterbury.
They sure do, and McGrady's the man who could do it. Nearly through the gap. They nearly stayed off him, but eventually they've knocked him to ground. He'll play it to Langmack again across to Jason Alchin. Wide it goes. Dean Pace put it down, manages to pick it up. He gets it wide to Corcoran, and then out to Ryan. Now Ryan goes around 1-0, and again Glenn Nissen goes without it. Ashley Gordon picks it up for Newcastle, beats 1-2, tries to stand up another one, but he's knocked down by Corcoran on the far side. It's played. McCormack across now once again to Peter Johnson. Back it goes to McCormack again. Can he score? No, he can't. He's pulled down 8 metres out from the Canterbury Bankstown goal line. It's played now, and going away, Anthony Butterfield charging the line, but he's knocked the ground.
Doyle wants a bit of this. He's raced over from the centres to have a crack at it. He's going to try and crush his way over.
Up to play the ball once again. It's McCormack, a dummy half to Fulmer. Out wide it goes to Hagan. What's he going to do? He stops, starts, he gives it back there to Marquette, who's knocked the football on.
Marquette has knocked it on. Less than a minute to go, plus injury time. I make it almost time up now. Newcastle 8 lead Canterbury Bankstown 6 here at the Newcastle International Sports Centre. Here's the last chance for Canterbury.
Goes across now into the arms of Andrew Farrer, trying to make the bust, but he's pulled down just outside of his own quarter line. Canterbury into the ground.
Mark Sargent's out 2GB. Matt Barry's man of the match this afternoon. Regardless of the result, here's McGrady trying hard to get through.
But he's knocked to the ground again, 30 metres out from Canterbury's goal line. Back it goes down to Jason Alchin. Out to Andrew Farrer. It's a dreadful pass, and Farrer was standing flat-footed, and he's put it to ground.
There's the full-time siren. Newcastle 8 has won this game by 8 points to 6. Listen to the crowd. And Mark Sargent, the 2GB Mad Barry man of the match this afternoon.